Well, hello. Welcome to the first ever episode of I Can Be Your Friend. This is the podcast where we catch up, talk about what we are listening to and watching, and give pretty much unsolicited advice. And I am here today with my girlfriend, Stephanie.
Yes.
Lovely.
Hello.
Okay, so this is the thing. We weren't actually meant to be recording today. We were down at Subway and we were chatting, and I was like, this is what we have to talk about on the podcast, because we were talking about when we, sorry, frog in the throat, when we first met. And Steph, do you want to take that away?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was your 18th birthday. I got a phone call in my study on the landline.
Mm-hmm.
No mobiles back then, kids.
No. There was a little phone plugged into your house.
Yeah, so my dad goes, there's a girl called Lauren on the phone for you. And I was like, I don't know who this Lauren is. And Lauren's very excited voice is on the phone going, hey, I don't really know you and I know we've never met, but everyone says you're really, really nice. Would you like to come to my 18th birthday party? It's a fairy party and you have to dress up. It's next weekend.
This is how I make friends.
Yeah, well.
And it worked. I mean, that was 10 years ago.
I'll tell you what, all my networking courses steal your ideas, because that's exactly what they tell us at networking.
Just call people up and just be like, hey.
Cold call. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, actually, speaking of that, I went to an 18th last weekend. It was my little cousin's 18th, okay? No, it wasn't creepy. And I didn't realize how old I was until I sat with the other 18-year-olds. They were using language that I do not understand. Okay, they were talking like, oh, you're so lit and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, yeah, awesome. And I'm thinking the slang that we had, like they've got so much slang. The slang that we had when we were at school was like, are you for cereal? Do you remember that?
No.
Didn't you ever use that?
That is your lame. That is 100% your lingo and no one else's.
I swear everyone used that.
We had woot for a while. I remember that.
Woot, woot.
Yeah, but no, that's definitely your own lingo that you've made
fair
up.
Enough.
I can't back you on that one. I can back you on most things, but no, you're out.
So, Miss Stephanie, what have you been up to this week?
This week, I had a very exciting week. This week, I very excitedly got to fulfill my life dream. Mm-hmm. And by life dream, I mean my last 12 months dream. And I got to photograph the Matildas playing football.
Yes, you did.
Lauren is pretending to be excited.
Okay, yeah, let's get this
for real. But I did have to explain to her who the Matildas were.
No, you didn't. Look, I call halftime intermission and I call the crowd the audience. So,
yes, and halftime is only useful for snacks, I'm imagining.
Yeah, definitely. I love the donut stand when I go to the footy. But this is something that I've been doing this week, something a little bit exciting. You know this, Steph. So I've been rereading the Harry Potter books from 1 to 7. I'm currently on Deathly Hallows, number 7. Steph is a massive Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
I love Harry Potter. And I always assumed I was a Gryffindor. All right. I did a BuzzFeed quiz a long time ago before Pottermore. It's like, sorted. I'm a Gryffindor. I did the Pottermore sorting hat this week. Guess what I am?
The fact that I've seen your Instagram stories negates my answer for this one. And I was not at all surprised by what you were.
I was so shocked. I'm Hufflepuff. What the fuck?
No. I feel like Hufflepuff gets a bad rep.
Can I say,
I really think all of the houses.
I am so pro Hufflepuff now. Like when I first got sorted, I was like, are you for cereal?
Yeah.
But no, I love Hufflepuff. It was very me. They include everyone. And I'm the type of person that even when we were at school, if I saw someone sitting by themselves, I'm like, come join. It doesn't matter if you're half-blood, muggle-born, whatever.
Oh, it's true that you are like that. And it didn't shock me at all that you were a Hufflepuff.
So I feel like when I've been rereading these books, they talk about food so much. Like, so much. I get hungry
good food.
Reading the way they describe the food. And it's like Ron and Hermione already ate, but they still, in the Great Hall were still eating. Like, they explain all this food and it just makes me so hungry all the time. Like, how are they not obese?
Oh, and good meals. That's the thing. It's like really
boarding school,
good meals.
3 meals a day. They're all hot food. How are they not big? That's what I want to know. Like, why is there not one obese person in Hogwarts?
Well, there probably is. It's just
They didn't represent that.
They didn't
on the
visually
movies.
represent that in the movies. Like, I guess Crab and Goyle would have been deemed quite large
Yeah, okay, I
if
guess
you were
so.
reading the books. But to your point, do they even explain that Ron and Hermione are tiny? Like,
I guess not. I guess it just depends how you imagine them. I always assumed they were.
yeah. See, I think Ron was chubby in the descriptions that I read.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing that I thought, like rereading these as an adult, and I know, so Harry was born in 1981, I think.
I don't remember.
Okay, something like that. But I'm reading them thinking now time. And how much difference would it make if they had a mobile phone?
This kills me about rereading it now. The thing that I remembered as a kid was I was the same age as Harry every year. So it was quite relatable. So every year a book would come out and I was the same age as everyone in the books. So
did you ever have a crush on Harry?
No.
Yeah, see, I had a crush on Harry when I first read them.
No, I didn't.
And actually, first book, it was Neville, then it was Harry, and then it was Neville.
And then it was Neville because the movies came out and you were like, oh, he's cute.
Yeah. And then he turned hot, and then I was like, nah, I'll still do him.
Yeah, that's
but there's just
typical.
so many opportunities.
That just
Like,
doesn't-
seriously, come on.
Yeah, but when
just pick up a mobile phone.
when it came out, mobile phones weren't big.
No.
Like they weren't the sort of thing we kind of did have in our pocket, but we didn't have the internet connected to it. That sort of thing wasn't in place.
I know, like Hermione
So-
just needed an iPhone in her little bag. She didn't need all those books, but that's all right.
But not even that. Just like,
But it would ruin the magic.
where's Harry? I don't know where Harry is. Just bloody text him. Like, and it's the same as watching Seinfeld. Like, do you watch Seinfeld?
Yes, I was like, all these plot lines that you couldn't actually have.
Yes.
Now, if you were to make Seinfeld now, I don't think it wouldn't work.
No. Or you would just really have to
like
pick
that
it up.
episode where they're all meant to meet up at the cinema.
Yes, it's a 30-minute episode about how they just need to meet up at one time and they're all waiting.
Oh, you just need a mobile phone and just call them. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating watching, like, yes, definitely all these old anything that's like, I guess 90s and before, and you're just like, but at the same time, I'm so glad they didn't have that because it made it what it was.
And I guess you're into film and I'm going to say that sort of thing because that's probably my expansive knowledge in terminology. But imagine having to film those texts, like how quick it would be over. Like how would you do a 30-minute show where I'm texting you to be like, I'm here, where are you? You know, like it would.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You couldn't write a script. Like you couldn't write you'd have to have a plot where you've lost your phone.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
You're all like rocking up at different times. Mm-hmm. And if anyone knows Lauren, you have to say 6 and you'll see her at 6:30. Mm-hmm. So if we were friends pre-technology, I would have lost you 500 times.
And then if we see each other at 6:30, I'm kind of like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Let's not go out.
Yeah.
Let's just stay home and have a cup of tea, which is what we're doing now. If you can hear me slurping, we're having peppermint tea.
Yes.
Yes. I don't, that was me at that 18th. I was like, I'm at this age now where like, do I drink or do I have a cup of tea? I'm really confused. Do I go to bed at 10 or 3 a.m.?
10.
I don't
10.
I don't know who I am anymore. It's very confusing. Okay, so this is the next segment of what are you listening to or watching or reading? And I know you will have at least reading because you're getting your phone out now to look at it.
Yeah, okay. I am.
But before we do this, okay, I've got a question for you. I don't read anymore. I listen because I like to just lay on the lounge, especially days that I don't feel well, which there are a lot of those because I am chronically ill. I like to lay on the lounge and just listen to books. I like to lay on the lounge and draw and listen. But some people are saying that listening to books is cheating. What are your thoughts? Because you read like a book a week.
Yeah. Reading is definitely something that I have relearnt to love in the last few months. For me, I actually find audiobooks really hard to listen to be honest, because I tend to tune out and I miss plot points.
Yeah, but I'm not saying do you like them or not. I'm saying like, is it cheating that I'm listening to it and
I don't
physically
think so.
reading?
I don't think so. And I think that depends on what you want to get out of a book. So for me, I read largely because I have a lot of time to read. But I read knowing that I'm going to get something out of that book that's just for me. And I think if you're listening to an audiobook and you're getting that same experience, then I don't think that really matters.
Because you read on the commute to work and back.
Yes. So
because, we're going to get into that.
Yeah. So I recently moved back home and I have a 2-hour round trip one way.
And can we say why you moved back home?
Yeah, I had a very lovely breakup. So I'm back home to the parents' house, which I am 110% blessed that I am able to do that. Lots of people don't have that opportunity, so I am very grateful for that. But yeah, 4 hours.
Disclaimer in case anyone listens to this.
No. I tell my parents. They drive me up the wall and they know they drive me up the wall, but I do have very cool parents. I'm very lucky.
And I think we're kind of in this era now where it's socially acceptable for us to live with our parents up until the age of 30.
Look,
if you say
it depends what gen you're from, and yeah, you're right. If you say you're saving
then people are like, oh yeah,
you move back home,
fine.
They're sort of like, that's a great decision. The only issue is I'm not really saving and I'm living at home.
Like we said before, so we were having this conversation. Like, I don't even know, like, how did I spend $100 at Kmart on just like
it's
stuff?
Kmart.
But like, you were saying you're the worst. I'm like, where does your money go? Like, you say you're always broke. I'm like, how are you broke?
And
then you just list off things that you've bought, and I'm like, oh yeah, fair enough.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things I buy are big purchases at the moment.
Well, you
trying
are
to
a
do all the
photographer,
photography stuff.
so yeah.
But largely they're not. They're just shitty things that I'm a bit lazy about, and I think it's just a lot of things that's just not important for me to save for a house, and I'm going to get so shot for saying that. But
no. I know I'll definitely not be able to afford a house in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But you never know. Lottery is around the corner. Great. This is meant to be the entertainment segment.
Sorry. We've gone to the advice segment completely. So
okay, we're going to go back to this. What are you reading right now?
Right now, this very second, I am on page 1 of The Happiness Project by Gretchen, and I'm going to pull it up because I'm not going to say her name correctly. The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. I am on page 1, like I said, so I can't really give advice on it.
Okay, well then give us, what is one of the best books you've ever read or advise people to read?
Look, I'm always going to be a Harry Potter fan. I will always recommend Harry Potter. So that department, I'm not very good. I have just finished... I have just finished a book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, which I was really, really impressed with. It is about the quick responses that your brain has to situations versus the long responses that your brain has. And I'm going to not do this justice by explaining it. But basically, it's a first impression versus getting more information and data, and whether you can make a better decision with more information and data, and why you should rely on your first instinct. Don't
you form your opinion before it already happens?
Yes.
Isn't
so
that's
exactly what the book is about.
Okay.
So it's really, really interesting book. It also warns you about the subconscious biases that you might have. So another thing that...
So is it good for indecisive people to read this, or...
No, it'd probably make you more indecisive, to be honest. So from my point of view, there was a lot of things in there that was about your subconscious biases. So the last part of the book spoke about an orchestra and auditions for an orchestra. And what they did is they put a screen up so you couldn't see who was applying. And all of a sudden, the rate of women that were in the orchestra went from 10% to 50%.
Wow.
So what sort of happened is the conductors have these subconscious biases that men are better than women. And they used a specific example of the tuba. So I'm not going to say that that's a very general statement. Please also don't come back and shoot me about that one. But it was just about our subconscious biases and things that we can do and train ourselves to adjust to those things. Another one that was really, really interesting, it had a little quiz in the book, and it gets you to choose, it's got a column of words, and up the top on the left-hand side, it will say male and career, and on the right-hand side, it says female and family. And you have to move the words to the column that they associate to. So it would have like
Well, that's a
office.
bit slack though. Like if you family, like why
just
would...
wait.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Let me explain.
Okay, yeah. The feminist in me.
Yeah. No. So, and this is the exact point of it. So when it had the list like that, it was really easy to move career things into the male side, and it was really easy to move family things into the female side. And I'm someone who works 9 to 5, and to your point, it's probably largely a feminist and works really hard to make sure all the things that I do, reflect whether I'm a woman or a man.
Yeah.
And then what they did, so after you do that bit, then they give you a second page which has exactly the same words or very similar contextual words. So we'd have like career, kids, meetings, things like that. And what they've done up the top of the columns is they've put male and family and female and career. And your brain has to really think, because subconsciously you're not used to seeing those together. And this is someone who works, like I work with lots of women and I work around lots of women.
Isn't that fascinating? Like, because I never thought there was a problem. And only recently I realized that there actually is in the way that we perceive females versus males.
Yeah.
Because, I grew up with amazing males and females around me. And, I've got strong female role models as well as strong male role models. And I don't necessarily consciously think that's a male role and that's a female role. But only recently, and do you know when it started? It was when I watched Wonder Woman. And I went to the movies, and when I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, I am like strong. I can do anything. And then I realized, and then there was all those things in the media where like, oh, it's the first female superhero. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing.
I think that's what struck me about the book was like, in the book, it's very, very clearly stated. Malcolm Gladwell clearly states, you can have these biases that you don't even agree with, and you don't even know that they're there, and they're just there. And it's bringing those sort of thought processes, I think, to the forefront, which I thought was really interesting and something I'd probably never thought about. I wouldn't have said, oh, that's a difficult thing and I have to think about where to put that word. But it was. And it was only a millisecond. It was really, quick,
so the book basically challenges the way that you think about things. That's crazy. So moving on to what are we watching? I'm actually going to go forth and tell you what I watched last night. What is it called? The Princess Switch with Vanessa.
I actually saw the trailer for this and thought, I think I would like this movie.
Do you know what? I love a good Christmas flick. It had Vanessa Hudgens in it from
High School Musical.
High School Musicals. And basically it is Vanessa Hudgens. She is a Chicagoan. She's from Chicago. And she goes to this make-believe place where this princess or princess to be who is also played by her. It's the same person.
Yeah.
Switch places. And it had everything I wanted in it. Like it was love within
2 love stories.
2 love stories. Everything happened within 2 days. Like if only it was that good in real life. Everyone was smiling. It was all good looking people. I mean, what's not to love?
Do you think you would take the same chance?
God, no. I'm like, logically, I'm like, you guys are idiots. Like, you've just given up the royal arrangement for your 2 countries for this guy you've known who doesn't even realize it's you for the last 48 hours. But at the same time, I love it. I love it so much. I'm like, yes, finally. I know I said, as long as there's a gazebo with fairy lights, boom, gazebo and fairy lights. I love it so much. I love everything about it. I just walk out there smiling, go, yes.
I watched the trailer and that's saying a big thing because I usually
I'm
scroll
surprised
past
you even
the trailers.
know what it was.
So and I did sort of go, this is probably a feel good movie. And
do you know what?
Sometimes you like those, but I just don't know if I could sit through it.
Yeah, I know. I know you wouldn't, but leading up to Christmas, I love those films.
Yeah,
I think everyone needs to watch at least one of them leading up to Christmas. But I'm a Hallmark fan. I love Hallmark.
So like a Love Actually night is probably overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely at least watch Love Actually at least once a year. So now we're up to the segment, which I thought was amazing, where we give advice to anybody who wants it. I've asked on Instagram story, only think it was yesterday, I'll send in an email with anything in your life that you want advice on. Nobody sent anything through. So we're just going to talk about our own problems and give each other advice, which is what
let's call it problems in inverted commas.
Yeah, which is what we're going to do anyway at Subway.
Do you want to start with my problem?
Yeah, let's start with your problem, because I don't know.
I'm not going to call it problem is just not the right word for me. But anyway,
something you want advice on.
Yeah. So I guess when we were sitting at Subway, I started talking about this and Lauren got way too excited and said, let's just record straight away.
I was like, no one's ever going to ask us for advice. Let's just record.
Please note, this advice is completely 100% unsolicited.
Absolutely.
Advice.
I'll put a disclaimer. Yeah, go.
But basically I was talking to Lauren and I was talking about motivation. And for me at the moment, after the breakup, obviously, I started going back to the gym and I was really motivated. And then just this last week, I've sort of plateaued in my motivation. And I'm just struggling to find that little bit extra that I had, a couple of weeks ago. So I was talking to Lauren about it. And I guess that was my lunch question of you.
I know. And then I was like, shut up. We've got to record this for the podcast. Just keep it in your mind and I'll answer it.
So now I get to act candidly in front of a microphone about Lauren's shitty advice. And I have to tell her that it's great.
No, you do not have to tell me it's great. I know it's not the best advice, but I'm the best you've got without paying for someone to give you advice. So
work pays.
But you're talking about motivation, like in just exercising or what?
I think it's just like all around wellness motivation at the moment. Like I guess from a work perspective, I'm generally pretty motivated. It's pretty easy to be motivated from work.
Motivated.
So I do my 9 to 5 job, and then on the weekend I photograph the W League, which you should all watch if you enjoy sports, which is actually not Lauren and probably not Lauren's target audience.
No, I actually say yes, do that, because it's women in sport. Yeah. And I always say yes, go female power.
Recognize those subconscious biases.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I photograph that on the weekends, which takes it absolutely out of me. So as an example, I did a round trip from Sydney to Newcastle last night to photograph a game, and I'm wrecked. So it's not really work motivation. It's just like the motivation to keep bettering yourself, which sounds so ridiculous.
Okay, so this is the thing. I used to be exactly the same. I used to be like that. And every moment of my life had to be for bettering myself. And then I got to the point where I got unwell again. And it physically wasn't a possibility. And then I had to take a step back and I had to realize that not every moment needs to be to better yourself. Every moment doesn't need to count for something amazing. There's just got to be something small in every moment. So this is not making sense. But
no, it does.
Like you coming over here today, we're recording a podcast, we're just having tea, we're catching up. That's not really bettering yourself, but it's necessary. And there's something valuable in that. To keep your friendship is necessary. There's to talk, to just have physical contact with people, that is necessary. And like if you are constantly trying to improve yourself on every second of every day, that is definitely going to bugger you out. You're going to get yourself in a rut. Everything's going to seem unattainable and unachievable because your priorities are going to get so focused on I'm not going to say the wrong things, but too much focus is going to be on the one thing where it should be on many things.
Yes. And how do you balance those so many things?
Girl.
Although I know. But just
like,
put less on your plate, Steph. It's that simple. But what do you mean you took up another project?
But no, you can still do that. You can still, have your work, have your photography.
Yeah.
But you have to also make a priority other things.
Yeah.
So, you besides the usual eat well, get your rest, do your exercise, maybe it's more about finding that extra column of
balance.
Yeah. So you need to balance that out with an extra column in the to-do list, and you have to find time for that, and you've got to shave off time of these other things, of the photography and of the work.
Yeah.
So you can have that extra column of doing things that are still just as important, and you need to have that time where you're doing stuff that isn't bettering yourself because you need to just be.
I know. Do you know what the hard... No, I 100% agree. And I think the hard thing is that list always just gets put to the bottom.
Yeah, I know, but
No
this
matter,
is the
like,
thing.
you know,
If
like,
you're constantly saying, I want to be better, I want to better myself with this, subconsciously you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough.
yeah,
And that's going to get on top of you. And if you have even just an hour a week more of that third column of just being like, hang out with your sister, hang out with your friends.
actually going to bed on time.
Yeah, just
Not at 2 a.m. and then getting up at 6 to go to the gym.
yeah, exactly. Having a day where you don't go to the gym and just maybe sit and
Yeah.
just have a moment that is going to do wonders for you.
Yeah.
And that gives you, then it tells your brain, like I always say to people, like, be kind to yourself. And I think that is being kind to yourself, saying,
Yeah.
I'm enough. I don't have to spend my time bettering myself. I can actually spend my time just being for the moment.
Yeah. Finding the balance.
Yeah. Okay. My turn.
Oh, God. Does that mean I have to give advice? Okay.
Not really, because I think I've sorted it out. But look, okay, just being completely transparent. So I just recently this year, well, actually not even this year, I've been on drugs that have made my weight fluctuate a lot.
Yeah.
I've gone up and down just depending on my health. And it just in recent times, I've been hyper aware of my weight. Now, I'm not big. And I'm not small, because I don't want to disrespect anyone who is plus size, and I don't want to disrespect anyone who is quite thin either. But so I'd say I'm in between. I'm between a 12, basically.
Aussie
12, yeah, exactly.
Just in case.
It's only mum listening, so it's fine. And I actually didn't realize how much of a hang up I had about this until I'm going to tell you the story of my fiasco with a clothing brand, which I won't say. Maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, so I was having a little bit of a down week. My mum went and got me a pair of shorts from a boutique that I really love. And I went to put them on. They were a size 10. I'm usually between a 10 and 12 there. And there was no way in hell they were going to fit me. They were so super small, really small make. So I thought, okay, I've got to go up to probably at least a 16. Called them the next day, asked the woman, do you have like a size 14 or 16 in these shorts? And she goes, they don't go that big. And that kind of crushed me a little, because I thought, wow, I don't deserve to wear these shorts. And I wrote them an email explaining that, you not making shorts beyond a size regular, I guess, 10 or 12 is telling people like me that we don't deserve to wear your clothes. And then my other girlfriend came over. Yes, I have more than one friend. And
She
I really,
has two.
yeah. And she gave me a pep talk, and I didn't realize how much I needed it. I've just got to remember that I'm so much more than my body, but it's something that I still kind of struggle with, because I do fluctuate a lot with my weight.
I think even if you don't fluctuate a lot with your weight, like I don't necessarily fluctuate because of drugs. I fluctuate because I eat donuts for breakfast, and I think that that's okay. But even as someone, like recently in the last few months, obviously since the breakup, I was saying I started going to the gym a bit more and started looking after myself and started feeling a lot more positive within myself. And yes, like some of the weight came off, but I was having this discussion with someone at work, and I was saying, the weight came off, yeah, but all of a sudden I just felt really, really happy. And it probably didn't, like, no weight could have come off. And I think that would have emulated in everything I did. So what I wore, how I felt, how I interacted with
how
people.
How ridiculous is that,
and
though?
It's just like, it's so, I think it's just so important and so dismissed, the fact that you can just feel so good about yourself and it just changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything about you.
But also too, it's not about the weight. It's how you perceive yourself.
Yes.
And this particular company, I went on their Instagram because I follow them all the time. And then I was just hyper aware that even at their launch parties, they are all size 6 models. And look, once again, nothing against that, but there was no representation of anyone above a size 6 or 8. And that made me feel really, I've never felt like this before, because I've always been quite happy with myself. But I was like, I'm not desirable. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a good looking person,
And I
which
think
is completely like, yeah, I'm amazing. But no, but, but to think that is completely like BS. It's bullshit.
But it's also like what you're faced with, right? Like I look at people on Instagram and I would be like, oh, that person's like an average size. And I would meet that person and they'd be a size 10 or a size 6. And it's like, oh, actually they're quite thin, like comparatively.
And I have to actually, it's something I'm working on. I have to make a conscious decision to not let that affect me, to not let that determine my value.
Yes. And your own value of yourself, which is at the end of the day, the most important thing.
Okay, so you have seen an example of our kind of advice that we give. Take it or leave it, you know, entirely up to you. But if you would like to send us through something that you would like advice on in your life, please email it to me with as much detail, either written or you can record your voice on a memo and send it, which I would love. But at this rate, I'll take anything because no one's sending anything in. Please send it to lauren@giftedlife.org.au. And look, this is our very first podcast, so a bit of love would mean the world. So if you would like to rate us, please rate kindly. That would be amazing. And to also subscribe because I am hoping to make a lot more of these and find some more friends. Bye.
Nap time. Bye.